Good morning, dear students. I welcome you to our geography class. Previous class we have completed weather and climate. We have seen difference between weather and climate. We have seen the elements of weather where we studied about the temperature, atmospheric pressure, humidity, precipitation, wind, cloud and different types of cloud. Right now we are about to start the instruments used for weather. Different instruments are used to measure various elements of weather. And let us now study about the different instruments used for measuring different elements of weather. Measuring temperature. Temperature is a measure of how hot or cold the air is. And this is measured using a thermometer. We can measure the temperature by using a thermometer. Hot air has higher temperature than the cold air. And when air is extremely cold, it has negative temperature. That means it gives a minus symbol. And that is used to depict the temperature below the freezing point or 0 degree. The thermometer measures the temperature in Fahrenheit, Celsius and another scale called the Kelvin. Fahrenheit is used mostly in the United States and the use of Celsius is more common in the rest of the world. Temperatures marked with F are recorded using the Fahrenheit scale. And water freezes at 32 degree Fahrenheit and boils at 212 degree Fahrenheit. Some countries such as the United States use this Fahrenheit scale. Temperatures marked with the C are recorded in the centigrade scale or Celsius scale. And in this scale, water freezes at 0 degree centigrade and boils at 100 degree centigrade. So the same temperature if we compare with the Fahrenheit, here if it is 0 that is 32 degree, here it is 100 means that in Fahrenheit it is 212 degree centigrade. And air temperature at any given place changes throughout the day. A special type of thermometer called the 6S maximum and minimum thermometer is used to measure the maximum and minimum temperature throughout the day. This is how we can measure the temperature. Measuring humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapor present in the air. It differs from region to region and from time to time. The term absolute humidity denotes the actual amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere, and this can be measured in grams per cubic meter. And for recording humidity in the air, for the purpose of weather forecasting, relative humidity needs to be measured. The only thing why we measure the humidity is to record the weather or forecasting of weather. Relative humidity. It is the ratio of the amount of water vapor in the air at a specific temperature to the maximum amount that air can hold at that temperature. And it is usually expressed as a percentage. That is what we call it as relative humidity. Either you can define it like this, otherwise you can also say relative humidity is amount of water vapor in a given volume of air at a given temperature by maximum amount of water vapor the same volume can hold at the same temperature into 100. It means that if the amount of water vapor present in 20 gram but the amount of water vapor in the air can hold 40 gram, then 20 by 40 into 100 will come to 50%. Therefore, the air holds 50% of its actual capacity of humidity. Hygrometer. It is an instrument used for measuring relative humidity. It measures the water vapor in the atmosphere. Air pressure. Although it has a very little weight, the weight of atmosphere is enormous. The weight can exert pressure on the surface of the earth. And atmospheric pressure is the pressure exerted on a unit area of the earth's surface by gases present in it. The atmospheric pressure in one place may differ from the other place and also from time to another. So it is said that as we go higher, the air becomes thinner and exerts less pressure. Therefore, with the increase in altitude, the atmospheric pressure also decreases. Barometer. A barometer is an instrument also used to measure atmospheric pressure. It's called the mercury barometer, and this provides the pressure of air which can be read on the scale marked on a glass tube. The atmospheric pressure is measured in millibars, and it is 1013 millibars considered to be the normal atmospheric pressure. So since the mercury barometer is not easily portable, that means you cannot carry it to anywhere, the aneroid barometer is more commonly used. An aneroid barometer consists of a metal box with partial vacuum inside and flexible wall which expands and contracts, and the pointers indicate the atmospheric pressure accordingly. Measuring rainfall. Rainfall is the form of precipitation when water falls in the liquid form onto the ground from the atmosphere. And it is usually measured in millibars, but annual rainfall is measured in centimeters. A self-recording rain gauge is called as pluviograph, and meteorologists measure rainfall using an instrument called the rain gauge. This rain gauge is used to measure the depth of water that would occur if the rain did not drain away. In a rain gauge, rain pours in through a funnel into a container, and after 24 hours the water is so collected in the container that it is poured into a measuring cylinder which gives a reading of a day's total rainfall. So a rain gauge must always be placed in an open with no hindrance or no obstacle like trees or walls around, and on a level land to collect and measure the rainfall correctly. This is all about our rain gauge. Observing wind speed and direction. Air in motion is called wind, and sometimes the day is calm, another day may be a breezy and a pleasant day. But on days when strong breezes blow, we say it is a windy day. And violent storms sometimes follow the winds. Air always moves from an area of high pressure to an area of low pressure. Hot air rises from a region and creates low pressure. The cold air from the neighboring regions move in, thus causing the winds. The speed of winds depend on the difference in pressure between two regions. This is how we can say how the air is blowing, when the wind is said to be strong, when it is calm, when it is a stormy day. This is what we call it as speed of the wind, depends on the pressure between two regions. And if we want to know the direction in which the wind is blowing, we can simply use an instrument called wind vane. It comprises a rotating arm pivoted on a vertical rod. An arrow is fixed on the rod pointing in the direction from which the wind is blowing, and the direction from which the wind blows is used to name the wind. For example, if the wind blows from the west to east, it is called westerly winds or westerlies. And to get the correct direction of the wind vane is put up on high buildings on the roofs where there is no obstacles. This is how we can see in what direction the wind is blowing. Another instrument called as cup anemometer helps to measure the speed of the wind. It comprises of 3 to 4 arms attached horizontally to a vertical spindle, and this can rotate. The metal cups fixed at the end of each arm helps in the rotation. The number of times the cups rotate is counted and recorded by an anemometer attached to the rod. This is used to calculate the speed of the wind. Wind vane was used to see the direction of the wind, and anemometer is used to see the speed of the wind. An anemometer can also be modified to get a continuous record of the speed of wind on paper, and if it is seen on paper, it is called as anemograph. The speed of the wind is measured in kilometers per hour or meters per second, and when the number of rotation of the cups move, it indicates that wind is blowing at higher speed. The Beaufort scale, based on the effect of the wind at different speeds, is used to estimate the speed of the wind. Our next topic is isoheights and isotherms. Isoheights are lines which are used to connect the areas on the map which receive the same amount of rainfall above the mean sea level. That's the definition of isoheights. Or you can also say it's a line on map connecting points having the same amount of rainfall in a given period. And isotherms are the lines joining places on the map experiencing equal temperature. Isoheights are for rainfall, isotherm is for temperature, and that is on a reduced sea level. So isotherm is also said as a line on a map connecting points having the same temperature at given time or an average over a given period. By this we come to the end of the chapter, and please go through the summary of that page number 34 and 35 and try to answer the exercise. In the next class I will discuss about the exercise. Bye and have a nice day.